of optimism, of enthusiasm this time of the season. Everybody's joint top of the league. How do you see things? Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We've had a good pre-season. In there, we had a trip to the United States. We've had 6 games, lots of sessions. Players are prepared physically. We've done, a good amount of tactical work. I think during the pre-season games we improved our play and finished with a good result and a good performance against Sampdoria in the last game. So I think we're as ready as we can be.
And in terms of this being your first pre-season with this group, what have you achieved?
I think integration of 3 new players in Erwin Mulder, Rocky Messer and Tammy Abraham. We pride ourselves on having a good spirit within the group, and it's like they've been here a lot longer than they have. So that's been positive. We've got across to them the ideas about how we play and how we want to play moving forward. Another really positive thing for me is that we've got a group of fit players, because you don't want to do is start a season and you've got players injured during the pre-season period. So the only injuries that we have are existing injuries from last season in Nathan Dyer, and actually Key had a surgery over the summer and Llorente the arm fracture on holiday. So apart from that, everybody's good to go.
Are you stronger as a squad than you were last season, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Because we haven't seen many outs, and we've got good additions to the group. We still like to do a couple of other things. As you know, we have until the end of August to do that.
And in terms of targets, Paul, last season was obviously a struggle from when you came in. Is the target this season survival, or is it something more than that?
I've actually just had a meeting with the players to talk about what our objectives are for this season, and we can drill it right down to the finest details, but our objectives are very clear. We want to win games. We want to develop our style and our identity, and we want to start well, and we're not going to think any further ahead than that. Very clear objectives. Develop our style, start the season strongly, because the players have experience of last season where they got to the halfway point and only 12 points were on the board, so we don't want that to happen. We want to win games. We have a belief that we can go anywhere, and if we play well and the other team don't do so well, we can get results. We did that at Anfield. We were very close to winning at Old Trafford. So if you can go and do it at those places, we nearly got a draw away at Man City. If you can do it at those kind of clubs, we believe we can go anywhere and get good results.
Southampton away, is that a decent fixture to start?
I think any game away from home is a hard game in this league. Southampton are a good side. They had a good finish in the league last season. They've actually got a new manager who has experience of the Premier League when he was an assistant at Liverpool. I think they're a club that have got good players. They play a good style. They're a club I respect, because I think they've got a tradition of developing players as well, and have broken into their first team over the years, and then have gone on to be really good players at other big clubs. So I think they're a good side, and we expect a difficult test.
Are there parallels at the moment between Swansea and Southampton? As you say, a new manager going into his first full season like yourself, a leading significant player who's been the subject of a lot of transfer speculation as well.
Yeah, I think so, and also 2 clubs that like to play good football. So I think the comparisons that you've given are accurate at this point. We've got an issue with Sigurdsson at the moment that we're trying to resolve. They're in a very similar situation with one of their players. But what's going to happen on Saturday is that all those things are going to be put aside, because there's going to be 2 managers and backroom staff and players that are trying to do their best for their clubs and trying to get off to a good start in the Premier League.
At the risk of being tiresome, can you tell us what is the latest with Gilfie?
The latest is that there's no deal been done with any club with Gilfie. I think talks are ongoing, and I'm speaking to our chairman and our owners every day for an update, but there is no current conclusion to that situation.
A lot of interest, obviously, amongst fans, a lot of perhaps misunderstandings of what is going on and different interpretations. Can you just spell out what has happened this summer, as far as you're concerned, with the two clubs?
I think, well, first of all, I think that what's going on is not, abnormal. You get a lot of situations like this. There are other situations going on at other clubs at the moment, that when you have a player that's a player that you want and a player that's contracted to you for a number of years, and in Gylfi's situation 3 more years at the club, there is another club, and there's been other clubs that have been interested in him, and I think that's normal as well when you're at a club like we're at, and we have a very good player, and it's happened in the past here that very good players from here have gone on to other clubs, and the club have received good financial offers. So the situation is, our club have a valuation of the player, the other club has a valuation of the player, and at the moment the two have not met. But the objective and the aim is that at some point that the two clubs will meet.
Does that mean your valuation has to go down or theirs has to go up?
I think the way it's going, there needs to be more than likely a compromise on both sides, and that's sort of very often how a deal is made. And you want to come out of a deal, I think, normally when most deals are done, it's a win-win situation for both sides.
Is there any way that he could play on Saturday?
At the moment, no. I think it's in the best interest of everybody involved that that's not the case, and in my plans, that's the situation, that Sigurdsson won't be involved in the squad this weekend.
You've been very clear all the way along that you wanted this resolved quickly before the end of the window. How concerned are you that it still hasn't been resolved? We're getting towards the end of the window, and the players that you want to bring in, you're obviously going to have less time to bring those players in.
I mean, I was looking down at the date, 10th of August, so we've got a number of weeks to go still. I don't anticipate it going to the end of the window. Of course, I would like the situation resolved as soon as possible. I've come out and said that quite clearly, and hopefully that will be the case.
What's his attitude been like as this has gone on? Have you been happy enough with that?
Excellent.
Happy that he didn't go on tour?
No, because I like working with him. He's a really good player. He's a really good person. Every day he comes out and gives his best in training, and that hasn't changed during this period. So no, I don't see it changing either. He's that kind of a boy.
A week ago, you thought it would be a day or two. You suggested. Is it likely to be a day or two from now?
I don't know, Graham. I hope so. Is all I can say. I think that's the best situation for everybody involved. I hope so. Maybe it'll come when I'm not expecting it. But I think the main point I want to make about this is, although that has dragged on, it hasn't changed my focus about the way I've worked with the players, and I include Gylfi in that. All the players have had very good attitudes during the pre-season. They've been very focused. They've worked hard, and we're in good shape going into the first game.
In terms of targets coming in, Nacer Chadley, Wilfred Boney, do they interest you?
I saw names, and I see names all the time that we're linked with, but one of the reasons I don't want to talk about other names is because, unless something's done with this current situation, there's no point saying anything. Clearly, we have done our research, and if those funds become available, then we'll be ready to act upon them.
Just a couple of broader questions to finish from me. Who's going to win the title?
I don't know. I don't know who's going to win it. I think it's a very good league. It's a very competitive league. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being involved in it. All my thoughts are about doing the very best for this club and pushing them as far as they can possibly go. But I think there's good players come in. I think clubs are strengthened, and this is why this is such an exciting league. You just don't know what's going to happen. I've seen people that have predicted all kinds of things, including us being mid-table and top half, and us being relegated. I can't see a lot of point in doing it, to be honest. If I don't know myself what's going to happen, I'm not sure how other people know with my own team, for example.
And just lastly, Arsene Wenger made an interesting comment the other day at the Premier League launch, suggested that he could conceive of a time in the future where there would be a leading female manager at the top level in football. Do you share that belief?
I don't see why not. We have females now in chief executive positions at clubs. We have them here in the backroom staff working closely with our players. You see female officials now, so why not? And I always think best person for the job. I think there's been a female referee at first team level in France. There's no reason why it can't happen.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul, just a couple of quickies on Gylfi. Are you saying to the owners that it's time to compromise now? You use the word brilliant to Graham.
Yeah, we talk all the time, and the conversations are very open. They understand what the pros and cons of doing it early rather than later are. It's swings and roundabouts, and it's about weighing up and doing it at the best time. I know for sure that they have the best interests of the club in mind, and I'm confident about that. Clearly, with each day that goes by, you get a little bit more frustrated because you don't know if this is a player that you're going to have or you're not going to have, and if you're not going to have the player, then are you going to be able to get in the targets that you want? So we're at a critical stage of this situation, and as I said to Graham, we hope it's going to be resolved very quickly.
It seems that the clubs are when you talk about the deal being close, it seems the clubs are close. We're talking just a few £1 million, which sounds a lot, but actually in today's transfer, does that make it even more frustrating?
No, I think the amounts are a lot, because you have to remember we're Swansea City. We're not a top 4 club that has massive revenue, outside in relation to what those top clubs are getting. So we have to be very sensible with the economics here.
So, in other words, the club are right to take a stance?
Yeah, I believe so, because I think it also makes a point for the future as well, about that we don't want to sell our best players, and if we are going to sell them, we want to maximise our revenue for them so that we can then build for the future.
But if it does drag on, are you also in a position to go and buy yourself, no matter whether Gylfi Sigurdsson goes or not?
Well, I think what we've got to make sure that we do, and this is very important, that if a player of his ability leaves, that we have to get a or two other very good players. It's not just a matter of Gylfi goes, we've got to get in 2 players, and all of a sudden they're out the squad or they're sitting on the bench. It's important that the quality comes in. Quality players have a value. They're not cheap. So the big thing about getting the money in for Gylfi, or getting the right valuation, is that then we can then spend that money on good quality players.
So it still depends on him going for you to have finance to spend on the sort of players you want.
Yeah, otherwise he's here and we have a very good player that's remained here.
What's happening with Fernando now? He's obviously not being considered for this weekend. How far away would you say he is?
He's good. He had an X-ray, the final X-ray on Wednesday, which showed that the bone has healed, and now he's in a position to be able to finish the last part of his individual rehab. So he's up to a level where he can join team training, and I anticipate him being able to join maybe not all elements, but the majority of elements of team training after this weekend.
So could he be available for Manchester United, do you think?
I think that would be tight.
A bit early for that.
Yeah.
Maybe the following week.
Possibly, yeah.
And again, there's always throughout the summer there's been speculation about him as well. But as far as you're concerned, will he be here after the window shut?
Yeah, I'm confident that Fernando will be here this season, yeah.
And you've often maintained right through the summer, when we've had to ask the same questions, that your focus hasn't changed. You said it again today, and you are ready with the squad you have now, without Gylfi, for what is ahead.
Yeah, of course. Gylfi's not played a game since the Barnet game, so we've had 5 games since then. So all the focus has been on the group that I've had, the players that have played in the game. We had a practice game on Wednesday here against our under-23 team, so we're ready to go, and we're really looking forward to it as well.
And how long do you think it'll take Rocky Mesa to settle into the difference between La Liga and Premier League, which you know very well?
Quickly, I hope. We have examples here at the club where, I talk specifically about Spanish players that have settled quickly, and others that have taken a longer time and have actually never settled. But he's doing well. I think he realised from the very first session that, well, this is much quicker than I'm used to, and he's working at that day in and day out about the speed of the game, how quickly you get pressurised when you're in possession, so about taking up good positions and about moving the ball and about his positional play in our structure. So, he's doing well. And
Carl Bartley signed a new deal yesterday. Have you seen something in him that maybe others haven't, because they kept loaning him out?
No, I like Carl a lot. He's got good leadership qualities. I think he had a good season last year at Leeds. He's come back here with confidence. I think he gives another dynamic to the central defenders that we have here, where he's very dominant in both penalty areas. He's strong man, English, where his communication skills are good with the group. He has character and personality, and I'm very pleased that he's signed a new deal here.
And finally for me, if I offered you the same position as last season now, at the end of this season coming, would you take it?
No, I want to be doing better than that.
How much better?
I have no. You're looking for. What are you looking for? Points total or place finish? I don't know. I want to win more games over the season than we did last year. I want to play with more identity. I want to concede less. Just want to be better in all areas. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
You agree then?
Yeah,
That's lovely. Well, I'm interested to hear how you feel then about going into this part of the season, bearing in mind you have had a full pre-season, which is what you said you really wanted. Do you feel different now going into this season as to when you arrived in January? Does it, obviously it is a different situation, but do you feel different about where you were originally?
No, not really. I think pre-season's great. You have the games, and you want to win the games, but there's no pressure there. But as soon as the whistle goes on Saturday, it's a totally different feeling. And it's a good feeling. It's an exciting feeling. But pre-season's been nice. I've enjoyed it.
So has it put you in a different mindset to the mindset you were when you came in January?
No, not when the games start. But I was able to have a period where I could really focus on, coaching and getting the players fit and ready. But we all know when the season starts on Saturday, the pressure's there, the intensity's there. The scrutiny's there from outside and from within as well. You want to be doing really well from the first game.
You've obviously set yourself high standards quite rightly, and I know that you're saying about people speculating now. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but there have been some pundits who are already saying tipping Swansea for relegation. But is that a sort of double-edged sword? Because does it allow you a little bit to go into the radar to start with and sort of build up gradually? Are you thinking of anything, using it as an advantage along those terms?
I haven't really taken much notice of it, to be honest. I know what this group are capable of because I've worked with them for 6 months. So I know the quality. I know that they can handle big games. I know they can play good football. So we go into the season with a lot of belief, and so we should have as well after the way we finished off last season.
really does believe that this group of players who he's known for a long time are much, much wiser and much, much stronger as a result of what you went through last season. You obviously spent more time with them now and had the pre-season, you could see them a little bit more relaxed. Do you see that in them? Do you feel that they've matured individually and as a squad?
I think I'll learn more about that once the season starts. But you know, that's a fair point what he's made, and I feel like that myself. You know, having gone through that period from January to May, you know what I learned from that experience and what the pressure's like of working as a head coach in the Premier League, and what the expectations are like, and dealing with the ups and downs of winning and losing and playing well and playing not so well. It was an amazing experience.
Has it changed any of your thinking? I mean, you would have come in January with a certain sort of attitude of what you wanted to do, but has that level of experience changed your thinking at all?
Oh, just that you know, anything's possible. When I reflect on that period of where we started well and ended well, and in the middle was not so good, you try and plan and account for everything, but sometimes you just don't quite know what's going to happen. But you have to be ready. You've got to be ready to deal with difficult times, adversity, be strong and show mental toughness. And at the same time, you know, you have to believe that a good result is, you know, just round the corner. And if we hadn't believed that after the games against, you know, West Ham and Watford, if we hadn't believed that, I don't think we'd be playing in this league as we are this season.
Just very briefly, from me on Gilfie, we're all very well aware, obviously, of his talent, which nobody wants to see go. But you know, if the deal does go ahead, what do you feel? What sort of gap will be in terms of a personality within your squad? I mean, you know, what sort of particular qualities does he bring in, not just in terms of his playing ability, but you know, his personality, the way he is around the team? What sort of gap might that be?
Well, he's very quiet, Gilfie. He's, you know, not one to be hollering in the dressing room or even in training, but he's certainly someone that leads by example, the way he trains and the extra work that he does. He's a very dedicated professional. So if he does leave the club, he'll be a miss, but the focus has to be on the other players and potentially good recruits coming in of that level of quality, that type of person, that professionalism. That's very important.
If the deal didn't happen, does it worry you at all in terms of what his mindset would be, you know, coming back and being a Swansea player and playing for Swansea? Does that, you know, in terms of, you know, it's been very much speculative and up in the air, do you worry that might have had an effect that you might then have to counteract that?
Knowing what I know of him, no, it doesn't worry me, but you're never quite sure how someone's going to react to something that, you know, they really, you know, they potentially want but doesn't come off. But you know, he is a very good professional, and the way he's trained the last 5-6 weeks has been exemplary, really.
And you know, when you're looking at the players that might come in instead of him, do you look at them purely on the playing ability, or do you look at them, try to get to know whether they've got similar sort of traits in their personalities that would help the squad?
One thing that you know is when you recruit a player, there's lots of ways that you can get to watch them, whether that's from your scouts having been out to watch players before, or the hours and hours of video you can watch. So you're normally pretty sure from a technical, tactical level, and even from a physical level, because you can gather data about the different parameters physically. One thing that's more difficult to know about is the character and the personality of a player, what his family situation's like, what his lifestyle's like. But there are ways of finding out that, and you know, I always make sure that if there's any player that's coming, that I've done some due diligence about what their character is like, and contacted people that you know in the game to find out about the person. That for me is the best way. You need to speak to people that have worked with them.
And could that ultimately be a deal breaker, however good a player is?
Yeah, absolutely. It's critical. Thanks, Fran.
Thank you.
Thank you.